Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
This week on the show, we have no idea what to talk about, so we're going to talk about a little bit of everything, starting with an update on the Hollywood strike.
That was a great job, Josh. We also talk about the movie we played catch up on. I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy and approve. Josh got to relive his theater days with Theater Camp, and David spent a night in Venice with his wife.
That's right. We also take a look at the box office numbers for this weekend. One of the worst weeks of the year so far, but at the same time, pretty competitive.
What a great episode. Be sure to check us out online at SoManySequels.com. I promise this is going to be fun if you watch it or listen to it.
We actually have a lot of laughs.
We do.
A lot
it's
of
a
laughs. Find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And of course, at SoManySequels.com, you can watch or you can listen to all of our past episodes and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out any future ones in your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube. All right, without any further ado, enjoy the show. September, man. Dudes, guys. What a slow month it's been.
It was supposed to be the summer of the September of David, and
it was, huh?
Failed colossally. I was going to catch up on so many movies from earlier in the year. I have seen one movie from earlier in the year and one new movie. That's it. It's
more like Sucktember.
September.
Again, I've had a rough couple of days, a rough week.
Maybe we should have, in hindsight, done September.
Yes. See, that was easy content that we could have just, 4 good Tim Allen movies.
We've already done them.
That's the thing, and half of them are Christmas, and we already did them.
I know.
Half of them are Christmas, and the other half are Toy Story. We did all of them.
We've already done September. Yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't done all of his bad movies. There you go.
Right. So September's usually a pretty slow month in movie releases just because it's the beginning of the school year in most of America. And, David, you mentioned in our Discord earlier, which you can join at patreon.com/SoManySequels, that football season is also really popular here in the States. So that brings a lot of viewers onto their TVs during the weekend box office rush. So it's not uncommon to have, lull in the release schedule, but it feels a little worse right now because of the ongoing strike between the WGA and SAG-AFTRA and the Hollywood studios. Because even the few new releases we are getting, no one's allowed to promote them. So No one's talking about these movies that are coming out. They're just kind of coming out silently. And if you go see it because you heard about it, you got lucky, I guess, because there's no talk shows existing right now. There's no nothing.
You can really feel it too. Like normally during a release, you'll have like a blitz on your social media of just random clips from all the thousands of interviews that the actors will do. The cast of Barbie did a ton of theirs ahead of the strike just so they would have, and they did have a ton of content to put out. And Oppenheimer, too, had a ton of pre-recorded interviews before the strike happened. You might remember that the cast of Oppenheimer the actors walked out during the premiere. So, they already had a ton of stuff, in the can that they could release as promotion. But, a lot of the movies coming out this September, nothing. Nothing.
Man, talk about the highest of highs and crashing into the lowest of lows when it comes to this. Everyone was at the movie theater. It was boom, movie theater full. Boom, movie theater full. And now it's what?
I know.
And there is just crickets. And I do wonder, if that is going to impact in any way the strike, just because I still have not seen enough people, general public, outside of big movie fans, start to feel it yet. They won't feel any kind of thing yet. And I think it's just, again, I always go back to the content overload that we already live in, that people aren't feeling it because they're either catching up on stuff that they fell behind on, and it feels new. And then once they get through that, they can just re-binge The Office for the 45th time or whatever they want to do. You know, they have those options again. I do wonder when they'll start to feel it.
I think when they'll really start to feel it, and we're kind of used to a yearly or semi-yearly increase, but when they'll really start to feel it is when all these streaming services have to ramp up their subscription base like a lot. Like eventually they're not going to be able to go with just $9 a month, or and we've seen it for years. Netflix, the Disney Hulu bundle went up recently. Netflix goes up all the time, but I think all of them are going to start having to, because that's all they can rely on. They don't have new content coming in, so they have to rely on their subscription services. And unfortunately, they're not going to take that price back down. I think the maybe not the CEO, but an executive for either Warner Brothers or Paramount talked about the fact that they have been essentially through these streaming services giving away a lot of content for way under value for years, and that has been the benefit.
And whose fault is that?
Well, that has been
whose fault is that?
That has been that
is the studio's fault, and they got themselves into this mess. So please figure it out.
I know. I mean, the thing is,
this is your fault, dumbass.
They finally wised up to something that consumers have known for a long time, which is that streaming can be a very good deal if you're interested in the content that's on there. Like if you're really into the stuff that's been a part of Warner Brothers catalog for 100 years, you can get all of it for pretty cheap. Maybe not all of it, but a whole lot of it for pretty cheap. And inevitably, if something is beneficial to the consumer, it's not beneficial to the person making it. Eventually they will catch on and they will take it away from you.
Well, I get it. Everybody got greedy. They wanted it. Netflix got big, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody loved Netflix. And then the studios were like, wait a minute, we don't want to give them their money. We can do this ourselves. Mm-hmm. And then they didn't think far enough in advance. They wanted to take down Netflix, and then they dug them into a financial hole where they were paying for, you had this regular influx, but then they kept making shows. Mm-hmm. And they made them for cable, which no one watches and can't get ads. And then they made it for their streaming show where you get $10 a month, but you couldn't get ads. That was the ad-free thing. Mm-hmm. So nobody was watching the ads. Nobody felt it was worth paying for the ads. And now they don't have any money. And that's their own damn fault. Mm-hmm. No, yeah. So I do say that you have to blow up the model. I think that if you break it down, I would easily only pay for Netflix seasonally. I watch, honestly, Peacock the most. Like their original programming on Peacock, great, fantastic, love it. Would pay for that. And Hulu. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I'd get it when I want it.
I take the as it is now. Like it was great a couple months ago. I take the Disney Hulu ESPN bundle as it is, because I like all the content I can get across the board there.
Oh well, it's just a good deal right now.
Yeah, eventually they probably won't bundle it because it's too much of a good deal to have.
Right, we're going to get into a situation where it's like everything, it's like cable again, where all of these different streaming services are both having to raise their prices and find a reason to justify raising their prices, because right now they can't. I mean, they're trying to raise their prices, and also there's no new content, so no.
Yeah, I mean, when you have regularly new content, people will be okay with that. When there's nothing new coming out and you have to pay now, you go from paying $70 a month for a streaming service to $140 a month for a year. Excuse me, not a month, but a year. People are going to start to notice that, and it's going to start to lead to people tuning out. Like you said, Garrett, they all wanted a piece of the pie, but they realized that when everybody's trying to get one, you have to take a smaller piece, ultimately. And there's just not enough pie for everybody in this scenario.
One other dirty little trick that they have in their back pocket this time that the studios didn't have in 2008 is that I've noticed that there are some broadcast networks are starting to air streaming shows this fall to replace the lack of new fall content. CBS has started airing Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is a Paramount Plus exclusive. They should do that anyway. But then they've also started airing Yellowstone, which is a Paramount exclusive as well. So they're able to find now their own popular shows that exist elsewhere and try them out on broadcast TV, and that's going to buy them a little bit more time, I'm afraid.
Now, my question with that is that if that's successful, will you pay them more? Because now that is not just a streaming network show. That is a broadcast show that on TV cable. So that is now, in my opinion, a different kind of show. You have to treat it differently. Like you can't just treat it the same.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I don't know what. Yep. I don't know if most. If I don't know what Yellowstone.
I don't know. I bet they wouldn't. The other big strike news this week has been, pretty much Drew Barrymore being the main character, being the unexpected. I saw a lot of people say they did not expect Drew Barrymore to be the one to be the first big potential high-profile scab. But Drew Barrymore, if you haven't been catching up with her lately, is a talk show host now, a daytime talk show host. She announced that her show would be coming back to production without writers, as she insisted that it was going to follow the rules laid out by the guilds, yada yada. There was massive backlash from fans, from the industry, from the WGA, who said you are not following the rules if you do this at all, so you can't do this. She posted a video, a crying video, apologizing about it, but said they were going to go push through and do it anyway. A few other talk shows announced they would return after that. The Talk, Jennifer Hudson, a bunch of daytime shows. Then today, as of this recording, Drew Barrymore said, no, never mind, I undo it, and now she's not going to resume production, and all those other shows pulled out as well. So, what is the lesson learned here, fellas?
Well, the lesson is to make sure. I mean, I don't know. Because here's the thing. I need to put this the right way. I don't think a lot of Drew Barrymore. And in general, and that's not to say that I think that she's stupid or
not that you think little of her. You don't think of her a lot.
I don't think very much. Yeah, I don't think about her often. She's not the Roman Empire. I don't know if she was misled by her teams, by her production staff, by her agent, by her management, whoever, or if she's the person who said, hey, we can do this, or whatever. I can't do Drew Barrymore. But I don't know if it's her idea or not, because she doesn't strike me as someone who's like, oh, F this, I'm doing my show anyway, screw the writers. Let's come up with something to, some idea for why we can do it. And initially, what she presented was that her show is not a writer's show, or basically a news talk / commentary, kind of like Good Morning America. Good Morning America is still on because it's technically a news commentary show, as opposed to a.
Well, you're really stretching it though for her to compare that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is so initially the argument was that she had a similar type of show, that she wouldn't be using writers or, the way that say Conan or Jimmy Fallon do, even though she does. That's the thing, is her show is a, daytime show in the vein of Ellen or what's the one that Wendy Williams, whatever, right?
Why are you picking the worst
ones? I think you've named exclusively shows that have ended also.
Okay, sorry.
Ellen's gone, Wendy Williams is gone.
My question great thing about the Wendy Williams show, side tangent here, is that Wendy Williams got sick during COVID, right? I don't think she got COVID. She just got sick. And they brought in a bunch of guest hosts. And they brought in Sherry Shepherd. Love Sherry Shepherd. She's terrific, right? The ratings for the Wendy Williams show went up 30% under Sherry Shepherd as a guest host. So much so that the producers, the executive producers, were like, Wendy, you can stay home for a little while longer if you want to. They did not want to rush her back, and Wendy got pissed. So they gave Sherry her own show, and it still does way better than Wendy Williams. Hilarious. Anyway, Drew Barrymore tried to get this to work, and it just blew up in her face. Did not work. I would say if you're going to try something like this, make sure that you are right in whatever you're going to be claiming. If you're going to claim to be a news show, you hopefully better be, that better be in your paperwork somewhere.
Josh, you'll know the answer to this because you're a Jeopardy expert. Why do they get away with it? Because that's one thing that I've seen go back and forth, and I've not cared enough to dig deep. I trust that, they said Alex did it back in the day, so I feel there's precedent, but I don't know the specifics. Do you happen to know?
Yeah, Jeopardy is complicated because some people do consider it not great that it's back on air. I saw Ken Jennings was initially accused of crossing the picket lines when the show started production. I don't really think it doesn't have the same kind of backlash as a Drew Barrymore moment does. I think because of the nature of Jeopardy being a game show. I honestly couldn't tell you if they employ WGA writers. I would assume that they do, because someone has to write the questions. But I believe that Jeopardy is reusing pre-written questions throughout the season, so they're not writing new stuff. And I guess that makes it okay.
They got decades of stuff to use there.
Right.
If that's the loophole they want to employ. And I guess, but also, is Ken Jennings SAG?
I don't know if Ken's in SAG. I would assume Mayim Bialik is, who is the other co-host, because she's a legit actress on the side. Or on the side. That's her main job. She's a legit actress. So I don't know how that... you know what? It's coming back to me. We're the dumbest people to have these conversations because none of us know.
Yeah. We're not experts. We just
rampant speculation.
Rampant speculation. But I do believe that there is a hosting / game show like loophole for SAG because it's not really acting.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense. But it's we're in day 138. We learned of the strike as of this recording, and I guess negotiations are about to resume. But in line with our other prediction, I don't see it ending.
No, I don't think it will end soon. But it is always good for the parties to come together and hopefully present an updated offer so that each time they at least have something to build from.
Have we?
Because unfortunately, it's been a lot of gaps of silences.
And we've seen all of these headlines that have sort of alluded to the fact or outright stated that a lot of these studios, these big studios, would have lost more money than the writers and actors were asking for by this point. That it doesn't make sense for them to keep going with this. They could have easily paid this and been fine, but now they've lost more than they would have paid.
Sucks to suck. Wait, the studios? You said
the studios. That's what I've seen is that Warner Brothers has lost something like $400 million or something like that, or $400 billion.
Yeah,
however much it is. I can't remember.
They've acknowledged that they've lost more than what the writers have been asking for. They're just doing it to be shitheads.
Perfect. Love that. Way to go. A+.
And you could put that on paper.
They probably did put it on paper. What is that as a catchphrase? You put that on? That's not a catchphrase.
Put that on paper. Is that not a catchphrase?
That can't be a catchphrase.
It is now. All right, let's shift gears here and talk about some of the movies we have been watching this week. Because, even though we're not talking about a main feature this week, we all try to keep up with stuff here and there, watch some movies for fun. Believe it or not, we do watch movies that we don't talk about on the show. So I want to start. Let me ask Garrett, because I know you just recently watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is a show that David and I covered over the summer. So I think we would both love to hear what you thought of the movie.
Yeah, let us have it.
Well, let me start with a preface, because if you all remember, I have been struggling with my superhero movies lately, right?
Yeah.
Not only have they been bad, they've been bad. Everything has been bad.
You've lost interest.
Across the board. I've lost interest. DC, bad. Has been bad, start to finish. Bad. Except for a few. Right? Give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Marvel, fantastic. Okay. What are you doing? What have you done? What is happening? Right? And so I had zero interest, especially after Ant-Man, in any superhero movie. And so I finally got around to this one. It's streaming on Disney+. And, you both gave it praise, so I was excited going into it, feeling like it was finally going to be a return. And it was. It felt like it was a Guardians movie. It felt like it was a return. It felt like it was, thought through by someone who knew the characters and knew the people and knew what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that. I think the ending was great. It was amazing, cohesive. It was sad throughout the whole thing. Oh my God. The sadness of this movie was heavy. It was just all over the place. And I also found some, like, the first half of the movie also to be all over the place. There were parts where it was like, I really enjoyed it, but it also felt like the first half especially, they were just kind of saying the lines, and it didn't really feel like they were giving their best, like, performance. It just really felt like very monotone until about halfway through. And then it felt like they finally kind of got there. But, like, for me, it really felt like it was relying hard on just, like, we're the Guardians. We like music. Look at us be fun. And then it got good. And so I think this is one of those movies where I wish Letterboxd would give me those quarter opportunities, because I really want to give it that 3.75 because it's not, I base it on, like, what would I describe this movie? That's how I kind of rank it. And for me, I can't quite give this movie a grade. It's got flashes of it, but I do really enjoy this. I really enjoy it. I really like pieces of it. I really like most of it, top to bottom. One of the best villains, by the way, that I feel like I've seen. That performance was fantastic. 5-star performance from the villain. I don't remember his name in the movie or in real life, but it was a great performance. So overall, I was really pleased with it. I think it was a good way to close out that particular saga, and again, move on with something else. You can bring, if Star-Lord's coming back later, that's great. But let's move on and try to revitalize a little bit here. We don't need all of these properties all of the time.
Yeah, it's nice for something to feel like it ended or it closed. And I agree.
Too much animal abuse, though.
Oh my God, it was
made
terrible.
me cry.
Yeah, it was. It was the right amount to get you invested.
The right amount.
I mean, listen, if you want a villain to be
amount
hated,
of animal abuse.
like, animal abuse is one way to just shoot him to the top of the list of being a hated thing.
Bad guy, right?
Yeah,
that's worse than
Bad
torturing
guy,
people.
bad
guy.
Yeah.
David, you said this was like one of your favorite movies, right? Of the year so far?
Best movie of the year for me right now. Yeah. Because I legitimately got very emotional. Specifically,
same.
I mean, the something I'd love to hear your comment on, and why it kind of pushed it over the edge for me was the music, was the soundtrack. There was a kind of a mid 2000s vibe to it, as opposed to the sort of 70s and 80s that we got in the previous iterations. Specifically, that last song, Florence and the Machine, it just took me back to my RC radio days. It took me back to my my youth, we'll call it. And specifically sort of that, some of those capping lines with Drax and Mantis and Rocket and sort of their...
Yeah.
Well, he said, I agree that this movie came like full circle for each character. They all found like, it really started looking at them broken, like David said. And then at the end of this movie, they really came full circle for the characters, and I approve of that. Each character I felt like was done successfully. And I think that, obviously, again, I think that Marvel's downfall initially was firing James Gunn. I think that was where they shot themselves in the foot, and they've struggled to get out the gate ever since. They've had some good bits and pieces through there, but that moment, I think, was a moment that they really screwed up for the first time. And it's been felt ever since, because it's just been so much and so incohesive.
Yeah.
And this finally felt cohesive. Sorry, Josh.
No, I was just going to agree that firing him was a big mistake. It was reactionary. Obviously, they late but corrected that. So I think that this is... I just echo the hope that this is the end of this iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy, because I don't want to... Frankly, I don't want to see anyone but James Gunn do it with these characters. As we are aware, Star-Lord will return in some fashion. That's fine. I'm okay with characters coming in here and there, but I don't want to see another Guardians of the Galaxy and have it be these people. I really don't even want to see Guardians of the Galaxy as a franchise for a long time. Just let them do what they do here and there if need be. But let this kind of rest like the Iron Man and Captain America. Well, that's not really anymore.
Got a new Captain America.
Iron Man. We got a new Captain America coming, but a transitional thing happened, so it will be different. So if that were to happen, I guess it'd be okay. But
David, you mentioned the soundtrack.
The Mowgli's.
And I did want to bring that up because I was intrigued by that because, the soundtrack and the volume and the tape, that's so specific, to his mom. And so, as it got into the soundtrack more, this movie does such a good job of telling the story through the music. But it kind of, I even got to a point where, he was 8 when his mother died, and I don't know when the time, but Ain't No Way Florence and the Machine was a song that he's familiar with. In no way, shape, or form.
That's the thing. Rocket plays that one, so it's Rocket's picked up on a lot of
But some of those later
music.
ones too, they had Space Hog, maybe he would have had that on there. They had some later ones where I was like, would he have actually had that on his tape?
Well, these are on the these are the ones on the Zune.
Yeah, he's upgraded.
He got a Zune at the end of Volume 2. You remember? So it's got a bunch. It's got 300 whole songs on it. And Rocket's really been digging it. So he's playing "Creep" by Radiohead, the acoustic version. He's playing the Mowgli's, which we've met the Mowgli's. That was kind of a cool moment.
That was fun.
But anyway, fun film. Glad did you give it? So you're going to give it what, a 3.5? You have to settle for 3.5.
3.5. Yeah, it's also it's got ones in its rating on mine, but it is not the number one movie. It is maybe the 11th.
Oh, it's got ones in it. Wow. Fair enough.
Wow.
Okay. David, you actually got to see a new movie this week. Mm-hmm. You went to see A Haunting in Venice.
Yes.
Right? Which is the latest Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot. I can always struggle to say it. Poirot.
I know. It's a tough name to say.
Mystery.
Poirot. Yeah, Agatha Christie-based mystery movies. Excuse me.
So let me say, before you introduce it, when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I did not know that it was going to be one of these movies until the mustache reveal or something silly. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I was like, what? It's one of those? Because Death on the Nile had just come out in the past year. So it wasn't even on my radar that they'd had a third one in the can, basically. Mm-hmm. So I was really hyped about this, and I still kind of am. So am I going to be disappointed?
I don't know. How did you feel about Death on the Nile?
Okay, I do have to admit I never watched Death on the Nile.
Okay.
Death on the Nile died with Armie Hammer and COVID.
And Gal Gadot and Letitia Wright all having bad moments.
I think they really just wanted to bury that.
Yeah, I think
as far deep as they could.
I think the timing. I think honestly, the pandemic really killed a lot of the anything that would have resembled hype around this particular franchise.
The momentum from Orient Express
because the pandemic took it out of theaters. One, Gal Gadot had that really awkward thing with the Imagine song, right? Letitia Wright refused to get vaccinated. And then Armie Hammer got accused of being a cannibal, right? So all of a sudden, your three most...
the natural progression.
The pandemic plus your three most marketable stars all make really bad public faux pas, right? And so now you've kind of got a lot of disinterest. Death on the Nile is okay. It's an okay film. I don't think it's quite as good as Murder in the Orient Express. I think part of that is because Death on the Nile is a highly referenced film. So... you kind of, for me, I kind of knew what was happening early on. But I thought this was better than Death on the Nile and not quite as good as Murder on the Orient Express. Kenneth Branagh really leans into his, not that I've really seen him do before, but really tries his hand at horror. And it's quite a lot of jump scares, but Kenneth Branagh's main strength, I think, has always been his ability to direct performances. And there's quite a lot of good, subtle performances going on in this movie, mixed in with all the horror. He describes it as kind of a supernatural thriller. I think that if you are interested in the idea of a mystery movie that really tries... something it did well was, it is a mystery movie that really makes you want to believe that it's not a mystery, that it actually is something supernatural going on. Which is always the goal of a Sherlock Holmes or a Hercule Poirot, whoever it is, to disprove that something magical has happened and that it's, in fact, something very obvious, very clear, very tangible, right? So it did that really well. That's
also the plot of many a Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Yes. They take advantage of people's superstitions. People are very superstitious. It's very easy to get them to believe that something impossible has happened. So I think it did a good job. I think that it's only 143 minutes. So it is very quick. It is very quick. my only complaint there was that when he started giving his "here's what happened" kind of rap, I was like, "Oh, this is it. It's over." There was a part of me that felt like another shoe was going to drop, but it in fact had just dropped. So I was kind of surprised that we were at the end already.
I don't know.
Here's a question, Josh.
I think that
Do you think
was
that this one? So I gotta say,
Hey,
I'm unstable.
he's catching up. Hold on, he's returned. Okay,
We
He
didn't
might
actually
be back.
lose
It was good though.
Yep.
It was good. I enjoyed myself. I give it 3.5.
Okay, here's
Okay.
my question, real quick. You don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to reveal or anything, right?
Okay.
My biggest letdown of Murder on the Orient Express, and for those who haven't seen it, spoiler, is that it was like, you all did it, but nobody did it. He deserved it, and it was like a cop out, right? It seemed like the mystery was. Is this better? Does this have a satisfactory ending, or does everyone do it again?
No, not all of them do it, but yes, it is. It kind of depends, I guess, because it's gonna, I think a lot of times mysteries are often let down by the conclusion, how satisfying the reveal is, and I would say that this movie, for me, was one clue away from being really satisfying, because I think a really good mystery gives the opportunity for the audience to solve it just before the detective, or as the detective is solving it. If the detective tells you who the murderer was, and you're like, "Huh?" It's not good. You don't want the audience to be completely surprised by you want them to be following along. So I think this one needed one more thing, and it would have pushed it in that direction. It is not a cop out, but it's kind of like, I don't know. There's a little bit of nebulousness to whether or not this is, what the legal status of all these things are. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Okay, I'm worried it's gonna get too spoilery if you.
I
say
don't want to
much more.
I don't want to get into spoilers
yeah,
necessarily,
yeah.
but I think it's worth the watch. You may not like it as much as I did. I'm only going to give it 3.5. Better than Death, not quite as good as Murder. I think that Murder had all of the what really put Murder ahead was just being the first one. I think I love Kenneth Branagh. I think he's a great actor. He, as this character, is so unexpressive, though, that through 3 movies of it is the same. He's on the same beat the whole time. It's every time it is, "Well, I am Hercule Poirot and I am looking into this case. Have you seen anybody here today?" And it's like, okay, great. Now we need excited. "I am Hercule Poirot and I am here to investigate this case." It's like there's no difference between excited, scared, funny. There are jokes in this movie that the audience didn't laugh at because it doesn't sound like jokes when he delivers them. It just sounds like the same thing as when he's being serious. So that's a little bit of a knock against it, is I think that Kenneth's great, but he's playing this character almost too seriously at times. It's not a Benoit Blanc where you have this really captivating character on scene at all times.
Well, what could be?
I find Kenneth Branagh often takes things too seriously. He shouldn't.
Yeah, I'll agree.
That's my one knock
you
on
need to
Kenneth
watch Wild
Branagh.
Wild West again.
Hey, I have no issues whenever he doesn't take himself seriously. I love when he doesn't take himself seriously. It's when he takes himself seriously that I don't take him seriously sometimes.
It's right.
Well, I also watched a new to me movie this week. I got to see Theater Camp is out on Hulu now.
I saw that.
That was a movie I was looking forward to seeing in theaters. Didn't get around to it, but thankfully it's now on Hulu. If you were also interested in watching it, but
David, go
this
see
is another movie featuring Ao Idiri, the actress we've talked about a month straight now. Just
She's been on
coincidentally.
the last 5 episodes we've done, going back to Ninja Turtles.
Right, but it's also got just an overall cast of quality, funny people. Molly Gordon, Ben Platt, Jimmy Tatro, I like a lot. And it is, man, if you were a theater kid, it's painful. How it was clearly made by kids who went to theater stuff in school age. I never went to an overnight camp like this one, but I will assure you that every show and every rehearsal is exactly that, shrunk down to a microcosm of one night. And it was a lot, but I adored it. I had to pause it. I laughed so hard at the reveal of the musical that they are going to give. I almost said it, but then I remember David hasn't seen it, and that it's also a new movie, so I shouldn't spoil it. But Garrett has seen it, so he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. That just is so silly, and it cracked me up. The seriousness of the kids putting their makeup on and all that is exactly how they are.
Yeah,
it's exactly how they are.
Did they do a Breakfast Train-esque?
Yes, several, and David, they were. I wish I could remember them. They were all weird. they were all weird breakfast trains.
Exactly.
That they had tons of stuff like that. It's the basic idea of, a camp is gonna be sold because they're out of money and they gotta save the camp. So the story is kind of simple, but it's the performances that sell it. The kids are all really great. The adult cast is great. It's a really good stream at home movie, so I would recommend it.
I hope is it gonna give me like secondhand cringe? Is it gonna make me?
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah, but not in like a Michael Scott level way, like
not a single ladies kind of way.
I definitely cringed through it, but it's still got a lot of heart. You mostly cringe because you're like, oh, these kids, they just haven't grown up yet. Mm-hmm. They're so serious about their acting.
My favorite dynamic is between Ben Platt and the oldest actress, and their how they see that relationship is really cool. I really like the way that they, again, it's so silly, but they really tie it together for me at the end whenever David, go see it and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. And Josh, if you don't know what I'm talking about because you look like maybe you don't, we can talk about it too. Cause
we could talk about it off mic because I definitely think this is a good movie worth talking about. But I recommend it, so check that out.
All right. Well, I have to. I saw it was on Hulu already, and I went, well, shoot, I have to look into it.
Watch it.
One of my many things for the October of David, where I will again try to catch up on. Get it? So many movies. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it. I'll give a little rundown here. This week in the box office. Haunting of Venice it opened as of right now. Early estimates are number 2 behind The Nun 2, The Equalizer 3. It comes in at number 3. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 comes in at number 4, and Barbie's still at number 5.
That wasn't necessarily a thumbs down for My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. It was more specifically for the crappy box office.
Oh, it's a bad weekend at the box office. Second worst of the year, behind only February 10th. That was the weekend that Magic Mike's Last Dance opened in theaters.
It's another dead period of the year.
Early February. Yeah. Do you want to hear the top 5 from the worst weekend of the year? It was Magic Mike's Last Dance, opened to $8.3 million.
I wanted to go see that for our what was it? What did we do in February? Love movie, romantic comedies.
We did rom-coms.
Yeah. I think that was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
This year we did.
Put that out there too.
This year we did Brendan Fraser. That was this year's February.
Oh no.
Yeah. Josh acted like that can't be. Like Josh remembers any of the movies we've done.
I haven't remembered anything since December 2019.
I know. I told him we had done,
and I mean that with my whole chest.
A few weeks ago, I was like, "Yeah, we did the original Ninja Turtles movies," and we did. Like, yeah, we did. We talked about all 3 '90s Ninja Turtles. Anyway, so
every episode we do is a couple weeks ago in my head.
I know, and the best part is we could, for fun, we could just listen to old episodes, and Josh could be like, "Oh, we haven't done that one yet, or we already did that one." Like it'll be anyway.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, bad weekend at the box office. Josh, you pointed out that the 3 of the top 4 are all threequels. They're all third in a series.
Third.
I recently watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding for the first time, and I don't get it. But
all 3 of them are threequels I wouldn't have expected to ever exist.
I know.
Also true.
Less so with Haunting in Venice, but I was still surprised it existed.
Yeah. Equalizer 3 reunites Dakota Fanning and Denzel Washington from Man on Fire fame, and that's also one of my favorite movies growing up. So I have very much interest in Equalizer 3.
Yeah, and you know,
no interest in Equalizer or Equalizer 2, but definite interest in Equalizer 3.
Yeah, that actually had a pretty good opening a few weeks ago. I think it opened to like 42 million, which is pretty good for a movie like a franchise is not like wildly successful. So pretty good. Some other news, you know, Barbie is now the highest grossing movie of the year, like worldwide. It's crossed over. Oppenheimer is up to $950 million worldwide, so it has a chance to maybe make $1 billion because there's nothing else coming out in September. So internationally, it could cross the $1 billion mark, which would be pretty huge.
Yeah, I saw it's now the highest grossing biopic too. Which surprised me. I was like, wait, Oppenheimer's a biopic? And I was like, well, of course it is. It's called Oppenheimer. But in my head, it's like, no, it's about the bomb. It's not about him. It's about the bomb.
It is. What is? And it is based on a biography. So there's that component. But yeah, it is just number 2 now worldwide for R-rated films, just behind Joker. So that's it. So anyway, that's all I have there. I kind of just thought I'd bring it up since you put that in the Discord.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect way to also stick with our normal structure.
Also, do you guys want to guess? Josh, do you want to guess Theater Camp's Letterboxd score or Haunting of Venice? Get the Letterboxd game out of this week.
That's so hard because I didn't see a Haunting in Venice, and I already saw the other one because I logged it.
Oh, there you go.
I will say though, I was going to read the most popular review overall on Letterboxd of the week because I think you'll appreciate it. The most popular review this week is a review of the movie Bottoms from star A.O. Eidberry that says, "I'm in it with my friends," so 5 stars.
There you go. There you go.
So you got to appreciate a shameless 5-star.
I love when the stars are on Letterboxd. It's great.
Isn't it great? If you don't follow them on Instagram, they do a great job of interviewing stars on the red carpet when there are red carpets.
Oh, I love those.
And more actors are finding out about Letterboxd and more are joining it. I saw Maya Hawke said she joined it but refused to tell them her username.
Set to find her.
So good luck. There's a lot of fun people on there now.
You know what my big goal for the end of the year is? We'll see if it happens. But I want to get movie posters of my Letterboxd top 4 and then frame them and then have them on the wall back here, so I have my top 4 in the background. I thought that would look really cool. So
that's a cool idea.
I got to get. Unfortunately, it's impossible.
So you're really committing to the top 4 then?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, if I ever do decide to change, I'll just get another poster. I don't do movie posters often, but I thought, hey, this is at least a style thing that I can do with it. It's not just, you know, like it's not just like random movie posters. It'll be like there's a significance to it.
There's a reason.
You know, if I ever were to take one out, probably would move out like Indiana Jones and move something else in. But for now, I've had my top 4 since I've logged on, and I'm probably not going to change it because they're my favorite movies. But I thought it would look cool.
That's fair enough. No, I think that's a great idea. I think you should work on it, and I think you should document the progress.
I will. The hard time of having is the 3 of them I was able to find very easily in the same size, and one of them they just don't make it in that size. Like you either have to get it way bigger or way smaller. So I've run into a bit of an issue.
You have.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our episode for the week. I think we had a good one here. Good chat. Good all around updates. Mm-hmm. Good movie reviews. Oh, what's this?
Yeah. Can we tease next week?
I was gonna tease next week.
What are we doing next week?
Because next week is gonna be our Halloween preview episode.
Oh.
It's the week before Halloween, and everybody knows who's a fan of the show here that in October we do so many scares all month long, which is typically all 3 of us will select a movie that fits the Halloween theme. And then sometimes there's an extra one that will either be a new release or a fan pick, or we'll figure it out. But it's going to
be...
Oh.
I would like to tease because I just looked at the calendar, boys.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to throw it to you.
This October, we are blessed with a plethora of days. We have we have 4 Mondays, which is when we release a podcast. But there are 5 Sundays, which is usually when we record the podcast.
Yeah.
And we typically tend to release one around Halloween, right? So we have the opportunity to not only do a new movie, which could be the one of the scariest looking trailer movies that's come out in a while, that's going to scare the crap out of David. And the 3 of us get a pick. And our fans and audience get a chance to pick one for us to watch. Because there are 5 chances for So Many Scares this Halloween.
Oh, no.
This could be the best So Many Scares yet. With so
Do you
many
guys know
options.
what you're going to do?
Not
Have you
yet.
thought about it?
Yeah, I think I know what I'm going to do.
I've started thinking about it.
I do too, David. I think I just decided.
I think I've had it picked for a while. But I've been hoping that maybe inspiration would strike and give me something else. But I think I've been settled on it for a while. What I'm going to pick this year. Not looking forward to it. Least favorite time of the year. I wasn't built for it.
You weren't. Unfortunately, you were not built for it.
And so I'm terrified. But I will do it. This is the only way to make it happen.
If it helps at all, if we make you watch The Exorcist, there is a tinge of guilt that exists with me.
I don't have any.
I have some, man. I have a little bit.
If I have to go through that terror, you do too. I will not suffer alone.
I honestly think the movie I picked, I'm hoping that it's so iconic that it won't be scary. That's my hope.
Interesting.
I feel like I know what you've picked.
I have no guesses.
They might have given it away.
We'll have to.
You can tell from my past picks. If you go and you look at my past picks of things that I have chosen, they're all movies that I'm hoping are too iconic to be scary.
That's funny.
Because I picked like The Thing. I picked like The Fog. I think. What was the other? What was the other one I picked?
You and Andrew picked a couple of stinkers one year.
Well, I picked The Thing. I think was what I picked that year.
If that was the same year, that's fine.
And then Andrew picked The Frighteners, and I can't help it.
The Frighteners is the all-time worst.
I can't help it that you guys weren't scared of The Thing, but all I've ever heard my whole life is that it's the best sci-fi horror movie ever. So I was like, let's go with that.
The Thing is really
it's John
good.
Carpenter.
Yeah.
He's the king.
It's really good.
There you go. But anyway,
we'll save our reveals for next week's preview episode when we will let you know what to expect all October long for So Many Scares. Be sure to check us out online, though. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads. You can find us on SoManySequels.com. Can I?
Always when you're trying to pitch, that boy will not let us sell.
if you can't tell over the podcast, Josh's dog Max is having the worst sneezing, coughing fit in the background. He does it every time we're wrapping up shows.
Every time we're wrapping up, it's like he knows.
He's consistent.
We'll see. Find us online at SoManySequels.com, where you can check out all the episodes we've done in the past. You can find links to our social channels there that I said earlier. You can also go to Patreon, support the show there. We've got some really fun exclusive stuff there for you guys. We are going to do, or you get access to our Discord, first of all, when you join. And then there's some other fun stuff you can see there in the tiers when you join. So again, that's patreon.com/SoManySequels. I think that's everything. So we will see you all next week with a preview of So Many Scares 2023. Bye.